During Stefan's family's November 2019 debut on the Blake Shelton proved that manliness and Shelton go hand in hand. The Kelly Clarkson concert collecting her then-Voice co-stars Gwen Stefani and Kelly Clarkson asked an interesting question: which of them would do better alone in the wilderness, to John Legend and Carson D during a brief gab session, and Stefani had the funniest anecdote about her bow. The chance to share Stefani's tale of Shelton and his uber manliness was too good to pass up. Coming from Anaheim, California, where we had never seen trees before, my family and I were like, wow, this is crazy, when we first visited Oklahoma. As Stefani said, while we were on the road, Blake got out of his vehicle and decided it was okay to climb into the back. He then retrieved a long chain which he used to encircle the fallen tree. That's Blake Shelton for you. He uses brute force to remove obstacles whenever he encounters them. The family of Stefan, who was reared in California, was taken aback by Clarkson's giggles. "Oh my God, he's a man," one member of the family shouted. It was love, Gwen knew. For the record, Legend chimed in, but everyone on set agreed that Shelton would be the perfect choice to be abandoned in the wilderness as a cowboy. Stefani and Shelton now spend most of their time on Shelton's Oklahoma ranch, and while it took some getting used to, Stefani has adjusted to ranch life better than she could have imagined. This is according to an interview Stefani gave in 2023 to People, where she discussed adjusting to her new lifestyle. As the sun dipped below the horizon in Los Angeles, families gathered for what would be an unforgettable evening. The bride, who admittedly wasn't a fan of dirt or bugs, and the oppressive humidity weren't exactly her cup of tea. However, the breathtaking scenery in Oklahoma made up for the discomforts, and she found solace in her husband, a burly cowboy who could move trees at will. In the midst of a lively, laughter-filled, and aromatically delectable family party, Gwen Stefani introduced her boyfriend Blake Shelton to her loved ones. This was no ordinary occasion, however. Blake and Gwen had been friends for a while, formed a bond through their shared experiences in the music industry and as judges on The Voice. However, as Gwen stood there nervously, she couldn't shake the anxiety of how her family would react to him. Her family was close-knit, a diverse group of people with different views and opinions. They loved to talk about who she hung out with, particularly when it came to relationships that her family hadn't fully accepted before, but this time felt different. They could be won over by Blake's charisma and power. He was more than simply a guy. Being a country superstar with an infectious grin and an undeniable sense of humor, Blake was oblivious to the scrutiny that was about to befall him. That could brighten any room, but behind that cheerful facade resided a man of remarkable strength, not just physically, but also emotionally and in his capacity to form connections with people. As the time drew near for his arrival, her brother, a straightforward man with a passion for sports, came forward to introduce himself. "Hey, I heard you're quite the athlete. You play football, right?" he asked, reaching out to shake her hand. Blake shook his hand firmly and laughed. "I played a little in high school, but I wouldn't call myself a pro. These days, I prefer golf and fishing." Blake's friendly demeanor immediately put her family at ease, whether he was telling them stories about his childhood or playing music he had written. He was the epitome of the genuine, down-to-earth guy that Gwen had often described. The evening progressed smoothly. Blake's charisma and engagement shone through as the discussion flowed naturally from music to family memories, but it was his vulnerability and strength that really impressed W's family when the topic shifted to their own histories. While Gwen's family was used to seeing fades and polished images, Blake skillfully navigated his path, overcoming his early challenges in Nashville and eventually his public divorce, in a way that touched people with his sincerity and humor. According to Blake, "I learned a lot through the tough times. The way you emerge unscathed is what really characterizes you," Blake said in a calm but genuine voice. Gwen's father, a formidable figure in his own right, observed Blake with great interest. Blake's respect for Blake increased with each word he spoke, as if in a silent agreement that Blake was a man worth getting to know. The evening took an unexpected turn when Gwen's brother suggested an impromptu game of tug-of-war. It wasn't your average family game. It was a demonstration of strength, teamwork, and healthy competition. Gwen's brother gathered the family members and taunted Blake, saying, "You're prepared to lose some pride, country boy." He grinned broadly as he made his point. "No way, Blake, the sport, can ever smile back." "What's the deal?" As everyone took their places, the stakes were set. The loser had to purchase supper for the winner. With bated breath, Gwen saw as Blake firmly grasped the rope. He confidently observed his opponents forming their makeshift team. An unspoken understanding existed that this was more than just a game. It was a chance for Blake to demonstrate his mettle. The countdown started, and with a collective shout, the tug-of-war began. Even though Gwen's relatives were cheering and yelling as they pulled, Blake stood out for his unwavering will. He grasped the rope tightly, his muscles tensing up, and he said, "Come on, you can do it." Gwen expressed her enthusiasm by shouting. In spite of being outnumbered, Blake's focus remained unwavering. His strength came from a combination of his physical prowess and the bond he formed with Gwen's encouraging words. With a final surge, he pulled the rope toward himself, all the while grinning from ear to ear. With that, his team had triumphed. Gwen's family turned their joy and laughter from the victory into admiration. As the night progressed, the subject of conversation turned to relationships and love. Her brother pumped Blake's hand in a respectful gesture, and Blake chuckled and wiped his forehead. "It was all in good fun, but now you know that I can hold my own in more than just the music industry." Since Blake and Gwen came from such different places and had such different experiences, his family was wondering how they were able to integrate their lives. Blake opened up to them about his struggles with love and how he found solace in Gwen's presence after suffering a loss. His heartfelt confession moved her family, and I learned a lot about love and vulnerability from him. Blake embodied the principles she held dear: kindness, respect, and unwavering support. His character strength, rather than his physical strength, was what truly impressed her family. As her pride grew, she realized that he was emotionally attuned to his partner's needs. As the evening drew to a close, the air was thick with warmth and camaraderie. Blake's remarks reflected a mood that divided her family. Despite their disagreement, they were grateful to a guy who loved their daughter and talked so affectionately about her. When it came time to say farewell, Blake Shelton had shown his power not just against W's family but also inside the social fabric that kept them together via comedy, competitiveness, and genuine talk. "Blake, you were the perfect addition to our family gathering tonight." W's mom embraced him warmly, her words filled with affection. A sincere grin spread over Blake's face as he responded, "Thank you for welcoming me." His voice betrayed his understanding of the significance of her words. Earnest Sr. As Gwen stood by their side, she experienced a range of emotions: joy, relief, and a sense of certainty in her heart. She knew that Blake's presence would bring strength not only to her life, but to everyone he touched. As they walked hand in hand to the car, Gwen looked up at Blake with a smile that danced across her face. "You were amazing tonight. I knew my family would love you." Blake chuckled softly. "Well, you know me. I'm just a big teddy bear with a tough exterior." They both laughed, knowing that his strength had undoubtedly what had won over Gwen's family that night was the genuine warmth and kindness that shone through. The evening Blake Shelton spent with Gwen Stefani's family was a true testimonial to his character and courage. It went beyond a simple meeting. The early impressions revealed depths of character, both physically and emotionally, that struck a chord with her family in a culture where strength is sometimes confused. In the end, Blake proved that strength isn't just about physical prowess, but also about the transformative power of love, vulnerability, and genuine connection. As she thought back on the events of the evening, she felt an overwhelming feeling of optimism for what the future held, and she knew that Blake would be there for her no matter what. The fact that they were strong, in addition to having good chemistry, was what Gwen saw as the deciding factor.